Slim, thick, caramel, five. I do a little bit.
Welcome to Truth Talks, where Dimitri won't shut up. We're bringing you conversations that every generation can take part in. You may not agree with all of us, but you will definitely agree with me. Seriously, there's something for everyone on the show tonight, especially Dr. Sarah going in on Passport Bros. It's Truth Talks. Let's go.
Are y'all ready to roll? Let's go.
Welcome, Truth Tellers. We're about to get into it because some in the community are really tripping off their passport. No connection to what I'm about to say next. Dimitri, welcome to the show.
Hey, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me. Some people say I talk too much. Some people say they like the voice. So I'm going to take it how I can get it. You know,
I do like the voice. I respect the voice. Speaking of passports, Sarah is here fresh from Canada.
Guys, super excited, blessed, honored to be here. I'm actually in LA today, so thanks for joining me.
And of course, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant is here. Wouldn't be Truth Talks without Shy.
What's up, y'all? What's up, my Truth Avengers? Y'all remember me from season 1, lighting y'all asses up. I'm here on season 2. I'm gonna be a little lighter, but that just means a little more flame on that ass. So it's all good. It's all good.
Let's see about that flame on that ass. Let's get into trending topics. One of the most interesting decisions in the Diddy case was to not sequester the jury. Sarah, that means when you take the jury and they stay in a hotel and they can't talk to their friends or family and read the newspaper and watch the news, they're totally blocked off from the world. The judge said this jury can go home, which means they will be around friends and family. They are told explicitly, you cannot talk about the case. You cannot read about the case. You cannot watch news. They can't even talk to each other about the case until they go in the end and deliberate. But it is impossible for a jury to go home and not be aware of the conversation that's happening in the air around them, even though that is forget. Dr. Bryant, do you think that Diddy can get a fair trial in a world where the jury goes home and they're told, don't pay attention to everything, but everybody is talking about this?
Well, we know one thing they are doing is paying attention to everything and talking about the case. I mean, that's just kind of human nature, right? Do I think they're being influenced by outside chatter? Absolutely, 100%. And I don't think that outside chatter is going to be something that possibly will work against him. I think some of the outside chatter might actually help the brother in the court of law, because you got a lot of people that are outside saying this is a domestic violence case. I don't see any racketeering. I don't see it being sexual abuse. This is a woman who, consented these things and maybe, wanted something out of it. And so she participated in these things. And so, because I'm going to say this for myself, just watching the case, I was like, oh my God, seeing the videos of him beat Cassie. I'm like, oh Lord, right? Horrible. But then when I looked on social media and started hearing other people talk about, well, it's only a domestic violence, it's not this. Then I started going, wait a minute. Let me look deeper into this thing. So I think the outside chatter might actually work for him, not against him.
Dimitri, we see some juries go home. They tend to not get involved, they tend to not be over influenced by their community. I know it seems hard to believe, but a lot of studies say they tend to respect what the judge says and not be over influenced. Do you think that is possible when the news about Diddy is so loud in every community?
To be honest with you, in all actuality, in my opinion, I think it's nearly impossible to tell them not to mingle, not to pay attention to the chatter when they go home. It's all for nothing. It's just talk at this point. You saying it means nothing. I think the thing about it is, what bothers me is that the integrity of the justice system only ever holds up when we're facing white criminals, when white people are on trial, when black people, even the rich, don't get that same. We don't get that same isolation. We don't get that same privilege. And I, frankly, personally, I hate it for him.
Sarah, it's a rough situation for him. A lot of the community is like, baby, he's innocent of these things. I mean, if they're hearing folks chatter, they may be getting an earful of it's not really racketeering. I mean, I think it's racketeering, but a lot of people in the community think it's not racketeering. What do you think?
I whether I think it's racketeering or not, I don't think they've done a good job of making it clear that it was, which leaves there's reasonable doubt that it's not, right? And so I do think that one of the biggest mistakes that they made was by not sequestering these people, because when you look at the bigger cases in the past where they were sequestered, you know, you have O.J. Simpson, that was 265 days. It's the longest in American history how long the jury was sequestered. You have Bill Cosby, you have Casey Anthony, you have George Zimmerman, you have Derek Chauvin. So you have all of these people that were sequestered, and for good reason, because the truth is, regardless of how much we think for ourselves, we too, even as adults, even for critical thinkers, we're still to a level impressionable.
Yes,
so
but here's one thing, Sarah. One thing, Sarah, you're the judge, and you are also thinking about the lives of the jurors. And so with OJ, 18 people, because it's 12 jurors and then 6 alternates, put their lives on hold for almost a year. This trial, we knew from the beginning, was going to be 2 months. So you're asking parents, workers to say, stop your life for 2 months. That's asking a lot of jurors.
Yeah, and it's asking them to do it for free at that. But I still think, regardless, if you want to give a man a fair shot, then the only way is to make sure that people are relying on their own thought process and not their partners when they lay down in the bed, or their girlfriends at work, or hearing the water cooler talk, right? This has been the thing that is forced down all of our throats since it started. I am tired of this case, to be completely honest. I don't even want to talk about it.
So I'm so not tired of this circus that I can take another 8 weeks of this. But I, you know, you feel like if you're in the courtroom hearing everything, and you outside the courtroom are not hearing everything at all, I'm not even listening to you. I'm getting all the information. I'm seeing these people in real time, understanding how they, right? I mean, it's because all the things about tone and body language that reflect how we feel about a human being is speaking. We sitting outside of the courtroom, out of the Diddy courtroom, we have no idea about any of that stuff. I just feel like the jury feels like, I know so much more about the situation than you. Like, I can't even talk to you. The judge told me not to talk to you, but I can't even talk. You know nothing about this compared to me.
But they watch Truth Talk Story. We've been talking about this for like 2 weeks.
Right.
They watch the show.
Hell yeah, brother. Well, let me tell you somebody else who I think is going to be watching Truth Talks very soon, NBA Youngboy. Because Trump gave him a get out of jail free card. I guess Dr. Bryant would say he gave him on a reverse Uno card, and he's out of jail. Trump keeps pardoning black people. It's like the nicest thing he's done for black people all year. He gave a presidential pass to Larry Hoover, to others. I wonder why. I have an idea. Roll the clip, Lori, because we fired Jody, so now it's Lori.
You mentioned the NBA Youngboy. He's also in the past part in Kodak Black. They're trying to appeal to black men.
Of course.
So is this about that, or is it about Larry Hoover?
Their intentions are impure. But I will be honest with you. I'm fine with pardons. I kind of agree with you, Sir Michael. Like, if he's 75 years old, yes, because it's impossible when you think about the 230 plus people who were shipped offshore to a torture camp. When you think about this president who breaks the law routinely, convicted of 34 felonies right here in New York. When you think about the number of people, we've just decided in this country that these laws and these rules are pixie dust. The Constitution, who cares? Who cares about the emoluments clause? Give me this jet. Who cares about the 14th Amendment? So at this point, we have to ask, what is the law? So why do laws apply to some people and not the other? So if it's time for Larry Hoover to say, yeah, fine, then pardon Larry Hoover, but also let's look at all the other cases instead of caging people like animals who have been in jail for decades, in prisons for decades, for a dime bag of marijuana. When I see white boys walking down my street in a gentrified neighborhood smoking it freely and openly, you have to wonder, yes, there is something wrong with our criminal justice system. Respectfully, it is not as simple as, well, if you don't want to go to jail, don't break the law. That is spoken from a place of privilege. And if you look at facts and history and data and statistics in this country, you will see that there are so many people. There are so many people who are in prison.
We do have to leave it there.
Dimitri, I cannot express how much I love Tiffany Cross, who's a friend and a political warrior and always coming with the noise and the funk just like that. She brought up 2 issues. I want to decouple them and talk about one and then the other. Marijuana is second, right? First, are these pardons a plea to pull in black voters? Yes, they are. And there is a black pardon czar named Alice Johnson, who Trump pardoned in his first term, who is the one who is saying, hey, we should pardon this person. And these are politically chosen pardons to woo in Black voters, right? And I wish I felt like there was some genuine feeling of like, well, this person deserves to be pardoned because something wrong happened in their case. But no, Dimitri, this is just, if we pardon NBA Youngboy, the Negroes will vote for us. And I hate that whole mindset.
Let me feel the older generation in on who this NBA Youngboy is, because a lot of you guys may not know.
First of all, I host a show called Rap Latte. Nobody need to tell me.
Okay. I'm glad
and if he walked in here, he would be like, Torre, what's good? Who's your friend? So slow your roll, brah.
But this is for everyone else, Mr. Torre. Allegedly, there's a lot going on with NBA Youngboy behind the scenes, who says that he issues these hits and XYZ and all these other rappers are popping up killed. He's in the heat of that controversy. Allegedly, in hip hop, NBA Youngboy is the scariest person you want to deal with. That's what they say. That's what my generation's saying. That's what the kids telling me. XYZ, blah, blah, blah. But yes, all of this is for press release. This is showing that in order to have mercy in this country, mercy in America, you have to have something for others to gain. You have to be beneficial for press release. You got to be famous. And quite frankly, the way I'm going to get the young ones is attack it through music. They love these rappers. I love these rappers. Let them out of jail. But like she said, all of these people sitting behind bars for petty crimes you could have pardoned. And you pick the person. Okay, I get it. I see what's going on.
Sarah, are you comfortable with this sort of? There's almost a bait and switch sort of thing happening when he's like, "Yeah, I pardoned NBA Youngboy. You Negroes love him, right?" And I mean, yes. And as Tiffany said, that's great to get people out of cages. On the other side, kill DEI, kill CRT, kill Black history. I mean, like, you're killing all Medicaid, all things that Black people need, but here's a shiny toy, NBA Youngboy free.
Okay, so let's rewind and reverse and get some good information going on here, because we do know that he thanked the president for pardoning him. He released a statement thanking the White House and his lawyer, and he also was on house arrest for multiple weapons, assault, and drug charges, not murder, Dimitri. Just throwing that out there because you kind of insinuated a little bit.
You're comfortable with him getting off here?
Well, I'm just saying this happened in 2020, and he had his future was hanging in the balance. And so for me, I feel like, why not take a win when we get to take a win? Now, is him being on the street a win? I don't know. But Black men being pardoned is. If our president is also going out of his way to do certain things to get certain people.
Are you into accountability?
I'm all about accountability. But the truth is,
taking accountability?
this is what I know. I don't know this man. Okay. I don't know this man. I don't know anything about him. And so all I can say is I'm happy that our president is letting it's a Black man thing. Why not take a win when it's a win? Now
it seems like an okey doke to me.
Not to me. I want to see a win, acknowledge a win, love a win, speak a win, and feel the win.
It's funny you say that. It's funny you say that, because I feel like if this was any other circumstances, you'd be telling people to stand up for what they're worth. In this situation, a man dangles something in your face and say, you guys should be happy with this, vote for me. And now you saying a win is a win?
I didn't say nothing about vote for me. I'm not saying that. All I said was a Black man got pardoned. That's what I said. I didn't say, is he probably dangling? Yes. It could have changed the views and pursue people to go in that direction. Yes. But that's not me.
Hold on, D. Much as I love to see y'all two fight, I do want to bring in Doc, and I want to broaden the question out to the other part of what Tiffany was talking about. Okay, great. Thank you for NBA Youngboy, but there are thousands and thousands of nonviolent marijuana offenders who are in prison and many states where that is now legal. I want them out. Fuck NBA Youngboy.
You just said this is your friend, Torre.
First of all, let me say this. He's a Black man. Let his ass out. Secondary, let me add this. Alice Walker, which is the woman who Kim Kardashian worked very hard to get pardoned.
Alex Johnson.
Right? Alex Johnson. Thank you, Torre. What I do like is that he has Alice taking lead on these pardons, and he also has Alice being a part of the one that kind of, lets the family know and part of the whole process. I love that. The thing that I know for sure, though, is this is prepping for 2028. Absolutely. Remember we talked about when I mentioned that Republicans strategize. Dems don't do well with that. So this is a Republican strategy to say one or two things. Let me be passive aggressive by taking away DEI, taking away the rights, taking away all this Black resources. But then let me go ahead and aggressively pardon Black people and tee up the Black community to say, look what I'm doing. While I put out videos that say, Black people have all these qualifications. I would have loved to have been a Black person with these qualifications at this time because they're the ones that are winning. So it's a passive aggressive movement. Let me tell you why. He did it in the 2024 election when he won. He had Rick Ross. He had Snoop Dogg, one of our biggest Black influencers.
Gross.
Hold on. And many more perform where? At his inauguration, where Trump wasn't even present. Hold on. He used media, the most powerful thing we have, to show that we got your Black folks over here at my inauguration while what Dimitri said, hold on, wean this little bit of money in front of them and show you that y'all can be bought. Let me go further. Hold on, Teray. Let me go further because when Kamala did it, and she had Sexy Red and these different Black artists doing it, guess what? The Black community said, and I was one, Kamala, we're more than just shake your ass. We're more than just Sexy Reds. We want to hear policy and legislation. But when Donald Trump did it, you had people like Kodak Black, who was at that.
Hold on.
People
We're
like
getting a little.
Rose,
Hold on.
like Amber Rose, who were supporting him, Torre. So what I'm saying, no, you hold on because I'm not finished. Because what I'm saying is that this is a passive aggressive act to make sure that you can strip Black people covertly, but overtly say, I got your back. This is this man swinging and holding his hands. And there's so many Black people that are falling for it. And there's so many Black people that it's confusing that when 2028 comes, because the Democrats don't strategize, they're not fucking prepared, just like they haven't been. The Republicans are going to have the House, the Senate, and they're going to have a fucking president in office again. If we don't start to do something about it.
No, I think the point that you're making is absolutely right, that this is an okey doke, that he was putting out these shiny objects. I have freed these people you like. The Larry Hoover is such an okey doke because he doesn't even get out of prison. He's got to go from feds to state, and I'm glad anybody get out of ADX, but he's still in a cage for the rest of his life. You know, Trump is giving us these shiny objects.
When he got Snoop Dogg, I'm sorry, baby, listen. When he got Snoop, D-O-double-G, who said, and I love Snoop, that's my guy. But Snoop put out a whole fucking video about how these other Black folks who were supporting Trump in the smallest way, making videos of Trump in his first presidency, were pretty much sellouts. And whatever he paid, my boy, got him to say, you know what? I too can join the sellout crew because I'm going to perform for you at your inauguration. That becomes the problem. Wait a minute, because they're saying, Torre, that we could be bought as a people. So who's responsible for that rhetoric and that narrative? Back to your point, white people are a problem. Is this a white problem or is it our problem? Because we being bought. Who's responsible for that?
Correct, that this is a way of buying our loyalty while you, as we're saying, that while you're doing actual harm to the community in DEI, CRT, history, eliminating positions, eliminating history. But I gave you this little trinket. NBA Youngboy.
But I gave you back, and I love my brothers. That's why I say, whoever can be pardoned that's Black, I'm all for it. But I gave you back a criminal. I'm not being fucked up. I'm being real. But I gave you back not the man who, like Tiffany said, who's selling weed on the block, because when we became legal, now Black market became illegal. So you got brothers who were making a living from that, and you letting white boys come into their neighborhood and put up a dispensary, taking away their money. Come on, this shit gets so deep, man. It's so deep. It pisses me off because, again, you got people who are lining up to say, well, he's doing this, and I want NBA. I want everybody out, okay? But when you're giving us back our criminals, and I'm not saying he's going to get out and do it again, but the repeat rate is pretty high, but you're not giving us back the brothers who you know can go into leadership positions, who you know can run for president against you, who you know will put you to shame. You're not doing that at all. So what you're doing is passive aggressively, you're punching us and you're hiding your hands because, to my point of what Kamala thought, you can just buy us, or provide entertainment, and we're going to run to the fucking polls. But guess what? We got to change that up. We want legislation. We want policy. We want people who are going to run black. We want people who are going to stand black. And even if we lose the race, we win the fight, because black people get to see what it looks like to represent a black community. And we're not selling out. We're not being bought, and we're standing on what it is. And that's the type of attitude we have to have. Otherwise, y'all going to have to team me up and have me run, because it'll be a whole different presidency. Straight
Dr.
up.
President.
No, I love that. I love that. I hope that there is actually a fair election in 2028. Right now, I'm not even sure that that would even happen. But yes, we are seeing the seeds of the stealing of the black vote through this trickeration of moving forward into politicking. Trump's trade war and his tariff plan ran to a speed bump this week. A court blocked most of his tariffs, but then an appeals court stopped the ban for now. They're going to continue to argue about it this month. So are we tariffing the whole world or not? I'm not even sure. There's one CEO says she knows what to do. Lori, roll that clip.
First of all, I anticipated it. I expected it. I planned for it. Why? Because the incoming administration told us very clearly what they were going to do. I mean, the entire time Trump was running this second time, he kept talking about tariffs. So I don't understand why the 50% of the country that voted for him are now shocked by the tariffs. There is literally nothing he has done since coming into office that has shocked me.
Sarah, you're way in the business community. I mean, like, this sister is saying she was prepared either way, and we should just start planning for the worst, because the man we knew was going to just drive off the deep end in this tariff situation. What do you think about what the sister is saying?
I agree wholeheartedly. I feel like we should expect the best, but prepare for the worst. And I feel like those who are not prepared are the people that oftentimes get smacked by the circumstances that are happening. Even personal story. You know, I was having a conversation with my mother, who has a lot of stock. My mom and my dad, they have stock, right? And my mom's like, "Oh my God, I've lost so much money. I should sell. I said, do not
sell
your stuff, because if you go back and look at history, 9 out of 10 times, literally, the stock market that has fallen back or gone into recession has always come back 9 out of 10 times.
Will always recover.
Covers. And so whether it would be 6 months or a year, don't do it. But what do? They use fear tactics for people that are more emotional around their money rather than strategically planning to buy more, while the rich are over here buying way more. And now they got way richer when the stock market recovered. And so it's the truth. I wholeheartedly agree. I'm not surprised by anything that Trump does. In fact, I mean, I could say a whole bunch of things, but I would be crucified. But a lot of the things that we talk about,
say some of them.
No, I don't.
One of them.
Sarah, this is Truth Talks. We ain't doing that, sis. Say it.
I'm gonna get canceled on the internet, but this is so. As an example, this whole deportation thing. I think by the end of the year, I think Trump will probably be able to say he's deported more people than Obama, because he's using this fear tactic. I think this whole letting people out thing. He is so strategic inside of what he does, and then it raises another question. Well, okay, what if he does pardon the NBA guy? I don't even know his name because I don't know.
NBA Youngboy.
So he's been pardoned, right? Well, now what happens if he does start to pardon the men that are in prison because of marijuana? Well, now you have thousands of people that are grateful for him, will probably lean towards him because their freedom is because of him, because he pardoned them for something that is now legal. So I think that Trump, although he's an asshole, although he's a bigot, although he's a racist, one thing about him is he's very clear about what he does. And I think if we listen, we can jump ahead of the trend. I 1000% agree with Fawn Weaver.
D.
Yep. I'm with her. I think she's showing us that resilience is not passive. It's very logistical. You actually have to plan, because real power doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't. It simply doesn't. It prepares for disruption. Yep. That's what power is. Staying in charge is knowing what you have and with the ability to see what's coming. And that's exactly what she did. And I'm very, very proud of her, because she said it out her own mouth. He was saying all of this when he was running. When he got in here, what did you think he was going to do?
I feel bad for the Black people who are already check to check, stretching a dollar as far as they can make it. And now suddenly everything costs more because this moron has created this trade war that is not for America. There's the regular person in America is not going to benefit from this. The idea was not for. So you just raise the prices of everything, essentials, Christmas thing. I mean, he's talking about you don't need $30. You only need 2 toys, but he's getting a new plane, but whatever. But there's a lot of Black people who are suffering because of this trade war. And, there's no way to sort of like mitigate that. Like millions of regular Black folks will be penalized by this. And that is a difficult thing to even wrestle with, Sarah.
Yeah, I think sometimes even if you're living paycheck to paycheck, if you could muster up an extra $100 to either invest that or get what's necessary, because if you guys notice, mark my words, guys, mark my words, you've heard it said a thousand times. You know what Trump is talking about now? Blackouts. He's talking about the grid going down. How many people are currently prepared for if there is no running water, if there is no
electricity? You got a prepper.
Pardon me?
You got a prepper. It's a doomsday prepper. Right there, doomsday prepper.
Wait,
there
what?
You go, right there. The grids go down. Oh my God.
I'm trying to let y'all know right now. So if you can muster up, do you know in my garage right now, and this is for years, you can go on to Amazon and buy survival kits. Get the little books that
How many cans you got? How many cans you got?
I'm set. I'm good.
For how long?
I'm good.
6
I'm
months?
good. Oh, way longer than 6
12
months.
months?
This is funny to that motherfucker go down on you, Torre. And you
This is
sitting
what
in
I'm
that
trying to tell
motherfucker.
you need batteries, you need flashlights, you need you need water packets, right? You need sanitizing things, you need food that can be in vacuum sized bags.
You have vacuum food?
Yes, you can order it on Amazon. Make it. You can order it on Amazon. Okay.
That's military food. She ain't playing. She war ready. She war ready.
I'm trying to tell y'all, you have to be prepared. When I'm not, my mom.
You have a gun?
Green thumb. Of course I have a gun.
Oh my God.
I have a gun. Of course, and I shoot like my daddy. Okay, my daddy was in the Marine Corps. He don't miss. This man is a sniper for real, and I shoot just like him because my daddy taught me how to shoot. So I see what you say. Y'all got to get clear. Y'all got to get your houses ready. Trump is telling you what's going to happen, and if you are the person that is not prepared when the grid goes down, or when we don't have clean water, or it's on you.
I want to say this, and sometimes I got to speak directly to my people. It's a lot of y'all voted for his. This to the listeners. A lot of y'all voted for his ass, and this is the fuck y'all get because y'all wasn't listening to that man when he was talking, and nobody wanted to take accountability for bringing this shit on. Now this shit's here, and y'all looking at tariffs and saying all these bad things. Look what he done. Now we got higher consumer prices. You got manufacturers losing their job because shutdowns and all of this extra shit. Y'all did this to your goddamn selves. I told you not to vote for him.
And now he's gonna pardon all the dudes who are gonna go back in the hood and do the same hood shit. I'm sorry to be the bad guy. Shoot the mess. Messenger.
All of that plus the destruction of democracy and the end of the system that we have prized, that really tried to make life better for a wide swath of people. And now we're here. Okay, so we're going to lay out plans over the course of the season and pay attention to this because, somebody has to. That's the Truth Talks way. That's what Lori wants. So that's what we're going to do. In our main topic, let's get ready to rumble. The topic is passport bros. If you touch the topic with your hands, you'd burn your little fingers, Sarah. I'm talking about men who go to small, poorer countries to find women who are less powerful, have fewer expectations, and are thus going to be perhaps more submissive and pliant than American women who want their own jobs and their own bank accounts and their own agency to do and wear whatever they want. Who needs all that? This is a hot, triggering topic. My man J. Cole made a whole song about passport bros.
The passport bros, but we ain't shelling out cash for a hoe. No, I'm a little old fashioned. Coast to coast, out the show, coast smashing. Shots of Class A, me and Lil Basse in Barcelona. The news just dropped, I'm a Barcelona. What can I say? Tell Coach Cliff to suit me up and I'll play. I'm winning. We at Tate Mayfair, you can't get in. The little back room where not many fit in. The prettiest girls all be grinning. They say I'm their favorite. They want me to lay with, it's blatant. Now we on our MIA shit. We just hit Playa. They playing a dirt song, then I'm on fire. A little red bone, she look like Maya and want me to try her. Oh Lord.
Oh, Sarah's traumatized. She had to listen to hip hop for 30 whole seconds. But look, there's a whole story of how this passport bro movement started. Lori dug up the clip. Lori, run that clip, please.
Began back in 2011 when a filmmaker by the name Al Grease made a documentary called Frustrated, and the subject of the documentary was black men who were American and were frustrated with the dating scene in America, and so they went off to Brazil to find more feminine and Brazilian women. Fast forward to 2023 and this movement has expanded, it's blown up, and it has become a very divisive subculture on the internet. There are many people, especially women, who are disgusted by the passport bro movement, and they basically see it as glorified sex tourism.
When you pay attention to the passport bros, like they're getting women from like the DR, Colombia, the Philippines, Thailand, like women that can speak very little English, women that don't have education, women that need them.
Woo, Sarah, definitely sex tourism. Is this sexism?
Oh, great question. I don't think so. You know, the thing that stood out to me in the video is he said more feminine women. And the truth is, I think that's kind of true. I think a lot of women here in America are very much inside of their masculine, have super high expectations, and then also kind of weird with no standard. So I do think that to an extent, I can understand why they would go because, you know, the women, these, but here's my question, actually, in all seriousness. Because I also do feel like one of the things that they are not expecting for the passport bros that go overseas is they're not expecting to have to pay the bills of those women, because please believe they are expecting a man that is going to be a provider so they can be this softer domestic women. Why can't men be that way with American women?
Well, first of all, their bills are about -3% to the comparison of the bills here in the U.S. That's one thing that men are doing. I have guy friends who frequent Colombia and DR because of they don't call themselves this, but obviously by definition, they're passport bros. And I even have a good friend who says once his son turns 18 and is done with high school and enters into college, that he's actually moving to Colombia and gonna find his wife and set up shop there because he said it's less expensive. He also said that not just men, but black men are very much in demand there. So if you're a black man from the States, they look at you as like, you know, you're this Michael Jordan of the men just from being in another country. And he did say that sex is easier. He said that the submission is there, and it really doesn't cost anything to care for these women because they are in third world countries most of the time. The cost of living is extremely low, and you can go there and really have a great quality of life for them. So there's a lot of men who I know personally who are doing it, and this is their thing.
It does feel like a rejection of American women and a rejection of women who have agency and women who know, hey, I am equal to you and I should be, you know, have rights and law, all the thing equal. And like, if you're like, nah, I don't like that, you can go to a third world country and get a woman who's like, yeah, I don't mind being subordinate. I expect. I'm like, if I felt like you were genuinely like, I respect Brazilian culture, I just love those women and I want like that. But like, Dimitri, they're out here trying to get somebody who will do whatever they want. And I think that you're seeing like American women have demands. They want to be seen as full people. I don't want to do that.
You know, I don't think the idea of it is lacking femininity. I don't think that's the problem and why men are running overseas, XYZ. In my opinion, there is nothing, and I mean nothing, revolutionary about chasing submission. There's nothing revolutionary about chasing submission in economically vulnerable places. Men do it,
but is it okay?
Men do it in America. They go where the weak women are. That's what they aim for, right? And now we saying, okay, they found even
what do you mean by that?
Look, so I'll give you an example. The thing about it is, there's places in America, and I ain't gonna call them out specific because people may frequent those that I may not. Right? There's places in America, say, where low vibrational people are, or people with low self-esteem might hang out. Let me tell you something. A man is not going to the gym to find one of these women who just gonna bow down to what he want to do. Why? Because that woman is in there on her own discipline. He understands. She knows her power.
You mean kind of meet a woman like in AA who's in trouble, like that sort of thing?
I'm talking all of it. I guarantee you, there's men victimizing women in these positions they are in life. So there's nothing new for me. This is not abnormal. Like, why wouldn't I go even further if I could? So the moment that man who will victimize that woman got that passport, he took off. And he said, hey, she gonna listen to whatever I say. But this is what he missing. I don't know if y'all remember this. I think it might have been on Delirious. I'm showing my age here, but it may have been on
Foo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Correct. You know. Hey,
yes, 100%. It's not new. Eddie Murphy joked about this 35 years ago.
Y'all are funny, boy.
The question is it okay? Lori found a clip for us about the hypocrisy that's implicit in this. Let me see that.
Roles seem to be a high commodity nowadays, so let's just go ahead and get straight into it. These are the same men that you said you didn't want, didn't need, and they are broke. I'm gonna be honest, going overseas to travel frequently and live does not equate to broke. But then again, this just simply speaks to the delusion and hypocrisy of women. These men have been very clear in their message. They've said time and time again they want a wife, someone they can build with, start their family with, someone they can create a legacy with. What y'all heard was they wanted someone that they can control. Y'all minimize being a wife simply down to being a slave, even so much as telling those other women overseas that they're uneducated and practicing sex tourism. And in turn, a lot of y'all have took your degree and traded it in for an OnlyFans profile.
Woo. See, Doc, that's what she's talking about. That you're not doing this because you want love or respect. You want somebody who's going to be underneath you and do what you want and be under your thumb. And I find that gross. I never set out to find a woman who would be underneath me. The notion was always like, it's going to be a partner emotionally, parentally, financially. It's not 50-50, Doc. I don't freak out. I just feel like we are like working together to like build a future together and like, not like Torrey gonna walk 3 steps behind me. That's what they want, Doc.
But this is the thing, Torrey. What's wrong with somebody wanting what they want? We don't have to want it. It's a preference. If a man wants to go to Timbuktu to find him a wife who does Timbuk3, so be it. Hold on. You have women who say they want a husband who makes a certain amount of dollar amount. Who cares? Why are people so caught up in needing to agree or validate what people want or what brings them joy, happiness, or just satisfaction?
It's not that. It's not that.
I see nothing wrong with bros getting together with a passport, wanting to travel, whether they're just traveling to have a night of passion or they're traveling to meet a wife. I don't care, because those bros are not men who I'm looking to seek me or pursue me. I don't give a damn with them. This is my thing. Take your ass on over there. So it's less of you I got to deal with. I don't care. Now, if you're talking about a man approaching me or, us personally, a woman with you, and having that same desire, and it just doesn't fit you, and it's becoming a issue where they're projecting this, then you have a problem. Why do we have a problem with men doing whatever the hell they want to do? It's not our problem.
This speaks to men hating women and wanting women to be with them, to have access to them sexually, without having to do something. These are American men who are used to American women who demand agency. And they say, no, I don't want that. I want a woman who won't demand agency. Lori, I want to put, there was another clip that Lori brought up. See, I'm so glad Dr. B got rid of Jody, because Lori's so much better. That showed a man going to another country and saying, I want you. And the woman going, well, are you going to provide for me? And so now you have to respect her, right? Because you have to give your earnings to her. So you're ready. And then he was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do all that. Like, however.
Oh, wait, there's women here in the States who do that. Why is everybody acting so naive to this? There's women in the States who do that. The only difference is, listen, when you travel, third world countries, cost of living is much cheaper. I have been to Belize and Dubai and India.
Let's see the clip. Let's see the clip about exactly what you're saying. Lori, let's see that.
The issue with modern men and modern women in the dating arena is that there are so many modern men that want traditional women without having to be traditional men. What am I talking about? Let me let him explain.
And typically in an Arab household, the man usually is the provider financially. And that's just how it is.
That is just something I wasn't prepared for.
Most Arab women expect that.
Just like most American people expect the woman to contribute half, or not half,
But
just contribute.
but you're not dealing with an American woman.
No, but she'd have to deal with some of my things though too. This was definitely not what I wanted to hear. I thought Moroccan women prioritize family over material things, and I was not anticipating that it would mean I have to be the sole provider for a household. I didn't sign up for this.
So what do you mean?
Providing is respect for the woman in action. He doesn't want to do that because he doesn't truly respect her. So
First of all, they have the wrong bro.
Another country to try to find a woman.
That's the wrong bro.
Respect.
That's the wrong bro. First of all, that's all I gotta say.
Okay, so look, guys, really quick. So if the reason passport bros, most of the passport bros are broke. Why? You don't see a lot of very affluent men saying, I'm a passport bro. You see a lot of men.
Donald Trump is a passport bro.
No, he's not. He would never claim that.
Where's Melania from?
Listen. This is the point. The reason why the men that don't have money are passport bros is because in order for a man to feel good about himself, I believe that he needs three things. He needs to feel good in his bank account. He needs to feel good in his purpose, and he needs to know who he is. And it's not until we have all three of these things.
Oh, you missed one.
You
missed one. You missed one.
What?
Well, he's got to get that. All those things, yes, but he's got to get validation from women. Women got to be telling him something about himself.
Validation is outward. I'm talking about inward. These are the inward things for a man to be.
Oh, you think men have inner lives? That's funny. That's
so
really
listen. This is the thing. If you guys look, Torre, if you men don't feel good in your bank account, then you don't respect yourself. So low-key, subconsciously, you don't expect a woman to respect you. If you are dating inside of America, what starts to happen is all of these women that are mirrors for you in all the places that you lack. So what do you do, Torre? Let me finish. What do? You go to a different country where women, it does take less to provide for her, but also, you can live in Thailand like a god for $2,000. You could have a butler, a driver, a nanny, a cleaner, a chef, and all of these different things. Wait, Torre, let me finish. This is my point. My point is, most times you find that passport bros. I have so many affluent males in my life. Some are married, some are in relationships, some are single. And none of them would ever call themselves passport bros. None of them.
Can I please?
Hold on, wait. Can I push back 1 minute, Dimitri? Because I have a lot of affluent, high net worth men who got wives. And they more passport bros than the Negroes who ain't got no wives. The only difference is, Torre, that's why you laughing. They in the DR paying for the PR. Right. They in the Colombia paying bills. Hold on. And they got a whole woman who thinks she's his wife in Colombia, but he travels back and forth to.
You gotta be so let's clarify, because a passport bro is someone that is going overseas in order to look for a wife.
Oh,
it is not
Sarah, that's a passport bro. They have wives here, and they setting up shop with wives there.
That's just a cheater. That's not a passport bro.
Passport bro who's going out there with money, paying for what they want, and having a whole shop in Costa Rica set up with a whole woman who thinks he has a whole wife. And that's what these men are doing. It doesn't matter their socioeconomic status. Men do the same thing. Some just do it broke, and some just do it rich.
I want to flip to the other side of this amazing conversation, because there's also, if we go on like the 180 of this, more Black trad wives. I mean, like traditional wives, like people who are like, I want to be like June Cleaver, like domesticated in the kitchen, like serving my husband, like serving my family. I mean, like, look at what they're wearing. Very Stepford wife, very supermarket, very domestic goddess. Oh, Handmaid's Tale.
I don't know about that.
Women who are willing to be a domestic nurturer in a way that recalls like the way your grandmother lived. And this is sort of like a response to like, the men going in this wild direction one way and they're going in another. Nara Smith on TikTok, I think she has like 50 million followers. I love her content. She's like the ultimate like Black internet trad wife. Dimitri, what is the rise of black trad wives really about, do you think?
Dimitri, where's the black woman at in these photos, baby? Give me
You
some of that.
know,
Give me some of that insight.
Dr. Lori.
It ain't
Dr.
too
Lori.
many black women
Ask
in
Lori.
them photos. You know, and I think the thing about it is, this is just my opinion, and I could be wrong. I ain't never told black. I ain't never went at black women, and I never will. But in this idea, the problem with being a trad wife, you don't get a credit card. You don't get a voice. You don't get to say what we finna do. You don't get the XYZ. And black women are far too powerful to be put in this position and tolerated. The thing about it is, a black woman, she want to be a trad, but that little gown, cooking skirt she got on, I got to be Louis Vuitton. I got to say that at the bottom. It got, you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't. The lifestyles don't coexist. Black women are too powerful to be put in this position, and that's just my opinion.
Dr. B, is this not reject feminism, the whole notion of being a trad wife?
Well, so listen, I asked this to y'all earlier. I was a kept woman. You said a kept woman and trad wife is different. When I was kept, I cooked, I cleaned, and I made sure I never denied sex or intimacy around the clock. But I never had to work. I didn't even pay. I didn't buy a grape. But I cooked breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And all I did was work out and run NAACP and run my Dr. Bryant Foundation. That's just the truth. And when I went to start my private practice up again, I started with a few clients. When I started to accumulate a lot, he said, I thought you said you're only going to do a few. He didn't like that. I enjoyed the lifestyle. I enjoyed being kept. So if the trad is the kept, I actually like it. I think there's nothing wrong with women being in that space. But to Dimitri's point, you're right. I got to have a say so, right? I got to say where I wanted to go.
You're not really trad there. You're kept, and I think the kept woman is.
What's the difference? So people can. What's the difference?
Trad is referring to the way that femininity or womanhood was like in the 1950s when women really didn't have rights, and you're just in the kitchen, just being a domestic goddess. And like, look at the photos that Lori pulled up. Like, it's very traditional. I think kept can have that economic component that you're talking about. I think Cassie was kept, but you were like, I choose this, I accept this, I want this. And I'm not saying the trad wives don't want it, but like, it's a relic of the past that is coming back.
Yeah.
As part of like maybe like a search for comfort in a changing world. I don't know, Sarah, do you understand why we're seeing more black trad wives?
Yeah, absolutely. Number one, I think feminism is a scam. I think it has set women up to do things that is not. Feminism is a scam. It is
women wanting to be equal is a scam?
We're not equal. Why does everybody keep saying that? And I don't care what anybody has to say in the comments.
You're not equal to me?
No, I'm not. You're a man and I'm a woman, and it's different.
Well, we're different, but we're equal.
Wait, let her explain it. Sarah, can you explain how we're different? Because this is an interesting perspective. I mean,
I've never heard this in my life.
What are you talking about?
Talk about it. So I feel like, for me personally, when I look at men and I look at women, men have way more responsibility in a tangible way. Okay. Women have way more responsibility in an intangible way. We are not equal. We are the yin to the yang. We are opposite. We are inverted. That's the way that it's supposed to be, right? So if we are supposed to be feminist, because now, and although I am a high earning, high value woman, okay, great.
High network woman.
I am that. However, that is the last thing that anybody would ever know about me, unless you know things that are also very classic. I'm not the super flashy girl. As far as anybody knows, I'm broke, I'm ugly, I'm single, and don't nobody want me, because I'm not interested in what comes with men thinking that I need to be the masculine, high earning, high achieving woman. We are not equal in that sense. And that's the problem. I feel like somewhere down the line, women forgot their place. Now, that being said, that does not mean that women are supposed to be home naked or barefoot in the kitchen having kids. I'm not saying that, because at the same time, I do feel like it's impossible to be a feminine woman without making your own money, but it shouldn't lead with that. Women need to know their place. And also, what I will say is,
what is their place? What is their place?
A woman's place. Number one, we are the neck. Okay, this is what I feel. Men are the head of the household. Women are the neck. You can't look in a direction without us. You can't even stand upright without us. We are so necessary and quintessential to the way that everything moves and shake. That is our place. Our place is not to be the leadership. I love your face, Dimitri. I absolutely love it.
Oh, you are.
I still don't understand what the woman's place is. I heard the neck analogy, but what is the woman's place?
So that is the woman's place. So what I'm saying is, I also feel like women, what we get to do, because a lot of the times we wear this badge of honor for exhaustion. We wear this badge of honor for being overwhelmed and looked over and feeling overstimulated when we could outsource so many of those things. If you think about how much money does someone spend in a day on food, let's say you spend $20 a day or $30 a day. That's really easy to do. That's $600 a month or $900 a month. You could take that $900, cut it in half, take $500 of it, put it in the stock market, that other $400, hire you a cleaner and get some meal prep for the month so that you actually have some time for yourself or more time with your children or more time with your husband. Our responsibility is way more intangible than tangible. On the feminine side, I should say that.
I'm still stuck. Do you think men and women are equal?
No, they're different.
That is not answer the
different
question.
and equal are not.
That doesn't answer the question. Different does not answer the question. Are they?
Are we equally valuable? Yes. Are we equally human? Yes. Are we equally loved? Yes, we should be. However, we're very different. So I guess it's just different ideologies, different languaging. But I feel like women, especially Black women, we don't know our place anymore.
Doc, you talked about being kept. You understand what that can be like for yourself and other women. Is that notion of being controlled by the man, either in trad or is that an attack on Black feminism?
Absolutely not. I think that there's a lot of Black women like myself who do know my place. I knew my place when I was kept. I know my place now that I'm single. I know my position, and that position may change depending on the circumstance or the person who I'm in a relationship with or my goal. And I also believe that being kept isn't an attack against feminism. I feel like a woman who's kept can have other responsibilities that actually empower and encourage and recharge the entire household, including the man. So I think that when you're talking about kept, if you're saying a woman who's just sitting there staring at a wall, then she's not a contribution.
Sure.
But a woman like myself who was making sure my man was fed, making sure he was sexually satisfied, making sure that emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, I was there having his back. And, you know, I traveled with him. I assisted him with things he wanted me to assist him with. And I didn't do it because I had to in exchange for my keptness. I did it because I actually genuinely love being submissive to my man. I am a hybrid. I'm alpha submissive. I'm alpha when it comes to the boardroom. I can be alpha here on True Talks at work, but at home, I am very naturally submissive. My love language, the way I love, is yes, baby, and yes, daddy. And if that's what you need, what do you need from me? I am a very much of a service woman who will have a voice if I need to apply boundaries. So when I think of a woman being kept, I think of a woman like, let's say myself. By the time I met my fiance at that time, I had all my degrees. I was already a doctor in private practice. I was president of NAACP. I was already a Democratic delegate elected official. I was a powerhouse woman. He just took me out of that element and said, baby, look, chill out. And I said, shit, this is a refuge, a safe space. I need a motherfucking break. I am going to relax, be kept, and keep the household.
You were contributing so much to society, and you continue to. The NAACP continued, the foundation continued. But I feel like so much of what made you a powerhouse was, you agreed to it, but it's like it was pulled back.
No.
And you especially.
That's true.
Let me say something. No. When I was engaged to marry this man, in my mind, we were getting married, right? So when you're saying contribute to society, I was contributing to my internal society, which was my household, my husband. At that time was going to be my husband. I was going to have a family and kids with. So my job as a woman was to contribute to that household as well, so that my husband could be prepared and teed up, so that when I have these babies, I can be at home with my kids. So we can have a certain household that we shared. Our values were, let me go get the bread. Can you keep me well prepped and recharged as a woman? And then you can be at home with the kids until you decide to return to work. I was a professor at a law school at the master's level. I left to go to work one night and I said, oh my God, I really don't feel like, which we all do. We all do that about work. I was like, I really do not feel like going tonight. The best thing that I've ever heard a man say to me was what that man said. He said, baby, listen, you know you only going because you want to, because you don't have to go. Now, listen, what I'm saying is to have someone tell you that from a place of, I got you. So you're doing this because you want to, and I support if you want to, but I also support if you don't want to, because I have set up shop for you as my woman, meaning the things that you would naturally have to do as a single woman, you don't have to do when you're with me. That is actually teeing up and empowering a woman's femininity. That is actually putting a woman in a place to say, I am empowered to do whatever I want. Love on this man and stay home, or go out there and get it. Because he wasn't intimidated by my power, but I chose to take my power, split it up, and give it to a man who I do not regret doing that for, because that was a great time and a great season.
D, Lori wants you to play one more video because there is another part of this whole passport thing that we haven't gotten to yet. Lori, run that.
Nobody said anything when women were going to Dubai. We know why you were going. Nobody said anything when women were flying state to state getting flued out. We know what you were doing. Nobody said anything when Nigerian and Jamaican men needed green cards and y'all started falsifying marriage documents so you could drive your Range Rover with your red bottoms. Let's just call a spade a spade. Y'all wanted the option to go back to these men after the man that you really wanted was done dragging you through the mud.
Woo! Dimitri, I can't believe I'm going to ask you this question in 2025, but what is a woman's place?
Hey, listen, man, this whole little conversation that right there, I ain't like none of it.
That's
the thing about it is, and I'm gonna say it all the time because I'm a advocate for their love, because that's the love I truly desire in my lifetime. My parents kept it together in unity. It's a customized love. There's no pre-written rules for who's the head, who's the neck, none of that. Everything they did it together. It was equal voice and decision making, equal accountability, equal responsibility, equal right to be a human. When you need to just be a human, it was mutual respect. It wasn't about how much you brought into this household did not make you a man. You understand what I'm saying? It did not. It did not change my mother's perspective on how she saw her husband. When he couldn't work, she did. And then he gave her the option to work when he could. The thing about it is, I hate this narrative that there's a preset requisite for how you should operate in your relationship. And this is for everybody in the chat, because I see y'all going crazy right now. Please understand, you're going to do it for what works best for you. That's all you trying to accomplish. If you want to be a stay-at-home wife and you want to be kept, or you want to be whatever you want to do, if it works for you, you do that. But if you love somebody, you're not going to change how you see them because of circumstances.
I appreciate what you said about your parents' dynamic. And, my parents' dynamic was incredible. It was somewhat traditional in that my father worked and my mother did not. And she's not trad, but she was at home.
Yeah.
But he showed her so much respect. He listened to her. He led, but he would listen to her. He would make sure to show us how tender he was with her, and he would just be sensitive with her and treat a woman differently, but with love and concern and caring and and not arguing with her. That's the whole thing where they would if they had a fight, if they had a disagreement, they would forget it right away. So it would just.
And I want to add to one thing Touré said, Sarah, and I'll tag you in. One thing you said,
hang on.
Touré, 1 second, I promise, just real quick. Because Touré, you said he made her feel really loved, right? I think what a lot of women miss is that being provided for is a huge way of feeling loved by your man. That is a way of feeling loved.
Yeah.
So what I was going to say was, inside of the dynamic of what I've seen, when I say know your place, I mean know your place. It is individually customized. When my dad injured himself and only had disability money coming in, my mom was still cooking every meal. My mom was still taking care of my dad. My mom was still working. All of these things to make sure that we weren't homeless. So inside of what I'm really trying to say is, women, because I do feel like we, especially as Black women, some of us, not all of us, but some women have gotten away from taking care of our man in an intangible way. It is a very transactional society. It is very much, what have you done for me lately? And it is very much high levels of entitlement. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying I've only ever seen a good example from my parents. I've only ever seen ride or die, which is me. And, my mom was not a stay-at-home mom. My dad was not a stay-at-home dad, but I've seen functional relationships. And so I feel like we get to create our own lane of what it looks like. But I do think inside of your relationship, you have to know your place.
No,
and for me,
I don't know what the place is though. You keep saying the place and the next. What is your place?
So your place, okay, so for me, inside of a feminine household, I am a feminine woman. I'm a feminine presenting feminine woman, right? Who desires a masculine man. Meaning, if you want to be feminine, you can't talk to your man any kind of way. If you want to be in a healthy relationship, you can't go off. You can't come off the cuff talking out the side of your neck. There are certain rules to the game. So depending on what game you want to play, it is individualized. You've got to figure out your rule book. You have to know your place inside of a relationship, especially as a feminine woman. That does not mean that a man has control over me. I'm puppeted in a relationship.
My wife is equal to me. We don't talk out crazy to each. I mean, that's just basic relationship 101. That's not like some know your place stuff. I'm still trying to get down. Maybe Lori, we have to push this in the next episode because you keep saying a woman should know her place, and that makes me very uncomfortable, and understanding the place that women have had historically in this country. And I'm like, well, what do you mean specifically? And I'm like, we're not quite getting to what you mean. I mean, in my life, we have seen this rise of women into positions of power, into positions of agency, into being forces in this country. And I see with the Passport Bros, men who are saying, I want no part of that. I want the weakest woman I can find. And I'm like, that's lame.
Yeah, but I think what she's saying is that that she's saying, to your point, that there are women who have agency now, who have power, who are educated, successful. But even though you have all those things, there is still a healthy dynamic when a woman is in a relationship with a man who are doing all of those providing and loving and respecting things. She's saying that, don't come into it and pretty much strong arm and use your power against that. You have that hybridness of knowing how to submit and still respecting him. Kind of like Dimitri said, no matter what dollar amount his father made, mama still knew who daddy was. Mama still knew who papa was. And the beauty of it is, like Dimitri said, my only place I know for me as a woman is if you're taking full care of me, partial care of me, whatever it is, and I'm with you, if you fall short, I just want daddy to know, baby got your back. That is the role that I know is my position. Anything else, it does kind of shift because you don't know what circumstance comes. So you can't really,
both of you
put a role on anybody.
I know you just used the word submit, and I think Sarah used that word too. I know,
but it
my
sounds
wife
different.
would never ever use that word in relation to me. Even when we got married, and Reverend Run was our officiant from Run DMC, we were like, we're gonna say obey. She was like, no, I'm not gonna say obey. I'm not gonna promise to obey you. Are you fucking kidding me? And I'm like, hey, let's go. You don't have to obey me. Like, we're gonna walk.
But I think for Ray, the thing is, I think even if we're not using these words or these semantics, all these words are action words. And when your wife came in to help you with your camera, that was her way of being of service. And that is a submission. She doesn't have to say it. She's not obeying you, but you said, honey, and she came very quick and was very, beautiful and sweet and helped you. That is an act of submission. That is an act of obeying. It doesn't mean obey like you're thinking. It's if I need you and you help me, you're in a place of service, you're submitting to me. I can submit to Dimitri. It's just my friend. Dimitri calls me and says, Doc, I need you. I'm going to submit to him because that's my boy. If Dimitri says he needs me to do something, I'm going to be in my service position to Dimitri or Sarah because that's what it is. So you don't have to go with the word if the word is weird, but the behavior, especially for you to have this long 20, 30-year marriage that you've had, y'all had to have submitted to one another. You've had to have obeyed each other at some point. Otherwise, y'all wouldn't be equally yoked.
Can I say this? This is my last thing. I just want to say this because y'all know I'm manifesting. I'm always looking in the comment section. Please let it be known if you want this trad wife thing to actually find a space and we carve a lane for this. But Mrs. Wiley, if you out there listening, I'm going to put this in the air just for you, baby. Listen. You can be the head of the household whenever you choose to pop the motherfucker on the neck. I will play whatever position necessary for you to thrive, as long as you guarantee me the exact same thing. Call it what you want.
His DM's about to be full right now. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Well, if Dimitri wasn't such a YN, if he wasn't such a YN, I might have slid in the DMs after. But that's my little brother. That's my little brother.
Oh my God. That is it for us tonight. What a show. Wow. I need a breath. Wow.
So, Ray, you know what you need to do?
That was
You
wild.
know what you need to do? Go submit to your wife while she's submitting to you. And don't be in that act of submission.
I tell you, in about 5 minutes, I'll be rubbing her feet like, come on, let's go. Whatever you need,
There you go.
That is our show for tonight. Like, comment, subscribe at our YouTube channel at Truth Talks-Live. Continue to watch us simulcasting right here on the Black Star Network right after Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support us by advertising with Truth Talks and reach the 10 million folks who are in our viewing audience every day on social platforms. Small business and influencers, partner with us by visiting truthtalkslive.com and become a VIP member of the Lost Lover Boy Truth Lounge. What's really good?
Come on, man. Come bring them on. Tell them about come on.
As we talked about, Black media is under attack. So support us by telling a friend to tell a friend to come watch the Dr. B show and watch us every night at 8 p.m. EST and again on the West Coast at 8 p.m. PST. Next week, Attorney Ariva Martin, Judge Lauren Lake. We'll be back every night at 8 p.m. We'll see you later.